Welcome to Podheim, Jiroc's Valheim podcast. Let's give him the business.
Hey everybody, today is June 14th, 2022. I'm your host, Jiroc the Viking, and joining me today are my fellow Vikings, Gwen the Shield Maiden.
Hi.
Shield Maiden, Morning Darkness.
Hello.
And joining us for the first time is Viking Vaste.
Oh yeah.
Remember all the fun you had running around giving everything the business? Then you kill Yagleth, finish a few builds, and there's no more business to give. Well, today we're going to talk about our new Season 2 Adventure World that's launching on July 7th. There'll be tons of new content for you to explore so you can get out there and give the business once more. But before we get into that, I want to talk to our new guest today, Vaste. He's one of the community managers on my server. And Vaste, I know it's your birthday tomorrow, so let me start by wishing you an early happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
Hey, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So you're going to turn 21 tomorrow and finally have your first Viking mead?
It's actually 18 from in here, so a bit too late.
So Vaste, I notice you have a little bit of an accent. What part of the world are you from?
I'm from Argentina, in South America. I live like an hour from the capital city, Buenos Aires.
Oh, nice. And why did you decide to move there and live there?
I never move. I always live here. I still living with my parents, but don't tell anyone.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Too late now, you're recorded.
Yeah. Well, awesome. What is it like in Argentina this time of year? Is it warm? Is it cool?
Now we are actually entering winter.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we have a polar wave in this moment, so I almost freezing right now.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
It's the exact opposite for us, right, Morning?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wasn't it something like 35 or 36 C this last weekend? At least where I was.
You're speaking another language. It's like 100 degrees here, Fahrenheit.
Yep.
Get out. I do not recognize this craziness of Fahrenheit. What is this even? We're in the oh no, wait. MD is on our side, so we're in the majority, so we shall talk Celsius.
She was just trying to be polite. She knows the system that is much superior. Well, so Vaste, can you tell us before you found Valheim, what were some of the favorite games that you used to play?
Oh, that can be a really long story. I play a lot of games, but to make it short, I've been a League player since 2013. So I've been playing that for a lot of time.
League of Legends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're again in the majority here.
I actually don't play anymore. I'm playing the strategy game that is TFT.
I'm not familiar with that one.
What is that game? TFT? Can you use the what are the actual words to the letters?
Teamfight Tactics. The game is called Teamfight Tactics.
Teamfight Tactics.
Yeah. It's like make your own chessboard and choose the pieces. You don't actually interact that much. You choose what is going to fight for you.
Interesting.
And it's still in the world of League of Legends. It's like a spin-off or a game type within League of Legends, right? But it's kind of become its own thing because the gameplay is so different from the normal like MOBA type gameplay.
It uses the same lore, but that's it. The same characters and everything else is different.
Interesting.
But my actual favorite games, and it is in Valheim, is Dying Light.
Dying Light. Oh.
My always favorite.
Is that a horror game or a zombie game? What kind of game is it?
It's a zombie parkour game. So really fast, a lot of action, really simple. Just go there and smash.
Okay. Go and smash.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, so how did you find Valheim?
I sensed to a friend that she was trying to play with another group of friends, but I think they played like an hour and never log in again. So she got us another group that actually play a lot more video games. And the truth is that I was against it at first. I didn't want it to play Valheim because I knew I will end up playing alone on my own due to times. I usually the one that games the most. And that got me into the server also. Being playing alone was like, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what to build, to create. So I was watching some of Jiroc videos and I found what I was trying to do in my server with my friends.
Oh, right. So that's how you found out about Jiroc's servers, is through the videos posted on the YouTube channel?
Yeah, I think the one that got me into the server is the one where they do the tour with Tulkas in Naomi and all the. I think most of the people that joined in that time watched that video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was one of our first server tours, if not the first server tour that we did. I think at the time the server tour I think lasted like 2 or 3 hours, and that was like with a fraction of the builds that we now have.
Oh yeah, tiny fraction.
Yeah, but that was because you've been in the community for a while then, because you must have joined fairly early on. I would say maybe 6-7 months ago or more even.
I joined in November, so yeah, mostly 6-7 months.
Nice. And what are some of your favorite things about playing on multiplayer and on our servers?
I really enjoy the interaction with Discord. Due to my work and studies, I can't play that much in this time of the year, so I'm all day answering in Discord to the message, and I'm enjoying that a lot more than actually playing.
Oh, so you enjoy interacting with people through Discord on text and voice chat even more than playing the game right now, huh?
Sounds familiar. I'm the same. Like I maybe these days I log in like once a week, maybe onto the actual server, but I'm on Discord every day. So yeah, I see what you mean, Baste.
Yeah. Yeah, I was able to log in last night. That was fun. Always got to go down my water slide in my treehouse. But yeah, it's been a while since I logged in. I've been busy doing POI builds and stuff. So yeah, lots of chat, but otherwise not getting to play much.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, Basta, the community itself, obviously it's like we're all playing on Valheim. That's what brought us together. But the people are just so fun to just chat with and joke around with. Like I would be quite happy just sitting in a voice chat and just chatting to people without even being in game, just hanging out. So yeah, it's a cool Discord, and there's of course like the part of the Discord that is only for the members who are actively playing on the servers. But we also have like the public side of Discord where we've got over 1,000 now people. And I see more and more people chatting, asking questions, posting pictures of their builds and so on. And it's cool to be able to chat with other people who are passionate about the game.
Yeah, I find it super fun too. Running servers is that even though I don't have a lot of time or almost no time to play the game as a player, I do a lot as like a game master, admin, running events and building POIs. But so many times I find myself where I should be doing something. I should be making a new YouTube video, or I should be working on our season 2 map. I find myself so many times getting caught up in conversations in Discord with people, and then I look up and 2 or 3 hours have passed and I think, oh, I have so much work to do. But it was fun, talking with everybody for a few hours. I can definitely see why you enjoy hanging out in Discord. And hopefully, people who are even shy, who aren't so comfortable, starting conversations. We have a few members like that who are a little more shy, a little more introverted, but they still hang out in Discord and just listen. And then maybe they find conversation that they do feel comfortable jumping in on after time. So all play styles and social levels are welcome. But so we're going to go on and talk about the new videos that we've posted. And I posted a Troll Cave build competition. You guys all remember that?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It was, wow.
My trolling attempt failed.
No, you trolled us all right.
But no one died. None of the admins. So it counts as fail.
Oh, I should explain to the audience what you're talking about. So he tried to troll the admins as we came to visit his build, because instead of like an actual like aesthetic build, he built an experience through the Troll Cave where he told the admins to go in and run as fast as you can through whatever you find there and don't stop. So we did that, and we ended up going through a portal and falling to our deaths. Except in admin mode, we're in God mode, so we didn't die. But he tried to kill us all. So I should just say, he tried to murder all the admins in the game.
He would have killed me if I'd listened to him.
Oh, because you probably didn't have God mode on. Oh, right. Yeah. So we have I have a full video on my channel. If you go to the live video sections, you'll find it. It's some amazing builds. It's one of the reasons why I really hope someday they let everybody build in the dungeons, because the players are doing so many cool things inside of all the different dungeons and the caves. But third place went to Kung Ragnar. He did this build of like this big snake head creature thing wrapped around the whole outside of the cave. And then when you went inside, it had just all these creepy cages and fenring claws coming out through grates, trying to grab you, as it looks like they're trying to grab you as you walk by, and just lots of sort of like scary things in his cave. And second place went to Mac DeVera, who built this Swashbuckler's Cove. You guys remember that? I know Gwen did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was my favorite build, just because I felt like I was walking around in Disneyland, like queuing to go to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. It was so cool.
Yeah, and I think we even referred to it, or he even referred to it as Vikings of the Caribbean, which was really
Vikings
fun.
of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
When I was watching the stream, I was singing the song on my head.
Oh,
yeah, me too, the whole time.
That's awesome. And then first place went to Burdick, and he built a Serpent hunter's boat dock and breeding ground. And so it's this beautiful boat dock area where he had a serpent captured inside a cage in between the boats, and this really interesting sort of like a fountain feature with a serpent head. And when you jump into the serpent's mouth through the trophy, you go into the troll cave, and inside the troll cave, he used one of the mods we allow on the server called Item Stand All Items. And it has a feature where you can resize the items on the item stand. So he resized serpent meat and a bunch of different things to make it feel like you were inside the belly of the serpent while you're inside the troll cave. It was an amazing creative idea, in addition to the lovely boat dock that he built. So I highly recommend you check it out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah. Yeah, the growth trophies were part of the spine.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, those bones that stick out. And the way they swim around, too, it almost made it feel like the serpent was still alive while you were inside its belly.
I mean, those were used to really good effect in Kung Ragnar's build, too, with the snake and, the signs that said to hell. And, it was really, really creative use of all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. The people are doing some really creative things with mods, and the mods on my permanent vanilla server. I say vanilla, but then I say mod, but it is a permanent vanilla server. And these are just a few mods that are completely optional. You don't need them to play on the server. Not everyone on the server does use them, but we allow them for certain play styles if people want to, and they're doing some pretty creative stuff with it. So we're happy to see what they do and encourage all that creativity. And then I think the other video that I did was I called it 50 plus build ideas, because it probably could have been 100 plus, but we did a tour of one of the clans on the server called Luki, and they have a village and a mountain base. And I was just blown away by how cool all the different design aesthetics were. And Gwen, I believe you and I were on that tour, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And I really liked, so the whole clan Loki is one of the clans on the server, and they have a really interesting concept. They're the hunters of the clan. That's their whole kind of identity is built around hunting and all of that. So you can really see it in the build when you walk around on their main village. Everything revolves around that. They actually have a whole island, which they call the hunting grounds. And it's all very organic, and you really get that theme throughout. And then we visited their second base, which is a mountain base, with amazing castle at the top of the mountain, and some really cool ideas of how to basically build around a castle, but still make it look quite organic. And yeah, I really like that build. There's a lot to it's hard to describe, obviously, if you're only listening, but I would recommend going to watch that video and get inspired as well.
Yeah, they had so many cool design aesthetics and a lot of unique things that I haven't seen elsewhere. And that's what I always love. You just, after you think I've been running a server for so long, and I've seen so many cool different builds and different creativity. And you'd think, well, how is somebody going to do something different with the build pieces? And every single build, including theirs, they've done something different. And it's just so amazing to see that how everybody does something a little different with their build pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And Gwen, I guess you did stream both of those events on your channel, Gwen the Shield Maiden, on YouTube, right?
Yeah. I streamed both events, the Troll Cave competition as well as the Loki Village and Mountain Base tour. And I haven't really posted any other videos. I've been really, really busy with work, so not really had the time to edit anything. But I think next couple of weeks is probably going to be also mostly streaming for me. But I hope to get back to editing and posting more like short clips and shorter videos in July, hopefully.
Yeah, me too. With prepping for season 2 and then running some server events and POIs. At least last week, I was only able to get a couple of the streaming videos up. But yep, still content coming out. And what's going on over on Twitch there, Morning?
Oh, all kinds of things. We did the No Map run last week, and we're going to be doing it again this week before this podcast is released, as always. Last week, excitingly, we found the traitor. Impossibly so, but we found the traitor.
Nice.
It was funny. We were attacking a troll, and then someone decided to join us, and we went into like the most pathetic crypt, or not sunken crypt, burial chamber that I've ever been in. And then we turn around, and our guest turned around and was like, "Oh, is that the traitor?"
Oh.
And there it was.
So you guys just stumbled
really
across
delightful. Yeah. It was great. I mean, we were about to sail by it. It was absolute, just sort of this genius stroke of luck. But it was super fun. And let's see here. So I've been doing a bunch of building for season 2. I took most of the weekend off because I went to a wedding and baked 1 million cupcakes. No, really only 72 cupcakes.
It feels like 1 million, huh? Because so much work.
Only.
And a groom's cupcake and our groom's cake. Anyway. And then the Troll Cave build competition, I did stream that as well.
Cool. Yeah, so definitely check out Twitch, Morning Darkness over on Twitch, with 5s instead of S's there to see some cool Valheim stuff going on. And so we're going to go talk about some Valheim news. Now, I started off our today's agenda with no Valheim news. And then at the very last minute, they posted some news. Gwen, you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, and we have to do a special shout out to IronGate for always posting at the very last minute, but before we record those Valheim news so we can talk about it, not a week late. So thanks, IronGate, for thinking of us.
Yeah.
They posted on Twitter like 2 hours ago that Valheim is coming to Microsoft Store and Xbox. It will be available with PC Game Pass in fall of 2022, so just a couple of months away from now. And with Xbox Game Pass in early, I think I saw they said spring 2023.
Wow.
So that means for all the console players out there will be full cross-play support as well between Xbox, Microsoft, and Steam, which means we will be able to play with friends, whether they're on computer or Steam Deck or on their Xbox, I believe.
Yeah. It's I don't know.
Everyone seems very underwhelmed.
Well, yeah,
none of us are console players.
Yeah, that's the thing. Whenever I hear console news or people saying, when is it coming to console? I just always think, oh, just get a PC. I always kind of wish, I don't like rooting for for the other platforms because I'd rather that the developers spend their time on the PC platform, whatever extra hours they have to put in to make it compatible. But I think in the end, it's probably a good thing because it helps to boost the player base, so there's more players who are involved with the game, and nice to have more players for, YouTube. There's more people who are interested in YouTube for when I post videos and, community engagement. I would guess, though, too, if you're playing on a console that you probably can't run mods, you're probably locked into the standard vanilla version of the game.
There are some mods that are made for console, but they are so weird and mostly not as good as the one for PC.
Yeah. Okay.
So there must be a pain to install as well.
Sometimes depends of the game also.
I wonder if it's going to bring a different demographic to the player base because I don't know. It feels like it's I say that, I don't know. Minecraft, is Minecraft available on console?
I don't know. It might be. I know they have 2 versions of Minecraft. And that would have to be something I have to look into. I can't say yes or no.
Because just comparing it to Minecraft, I suppose obviously Minecraft has a much younger demographic, and I always see console as it seems like it's mostly a younger demographic playing console games compared to PC games. Seem to be a bit more balanced. But yeah, maybe it's just my impression. I have no data to back this up, so. But yeah, it will be interesting to see who else comes along with it being available on Xbox. And I also wonder if it will be available on PlayStation at any point.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Xbox would probably, charge a bunch of licensing fees to PlayStation. So maybe they have games on both platforms. I just feel so out of touch with the console games. I don't know, the environment is over there for gaming and the players that mostly play. What is the demographics, or do they make deals with each other to, have the games on both systems? I just don't know what's going on over there, but Valheim's going to be there on Xbox. So I guess we'll see how that goes when that's finally released.
Yeah. And they posted a brand new trailer on YouTube and Twitter as well to announce that, they will be available on Xbox. And I don't know if you watched the trailer. I thought it was really cool, really nicely edited. Anything in the trailer that you noticed that you want to talk about? I have one thing, but I'll keep it to the end.
So I only watched it real briefly while I was creating the agenda for today's podcast. So I didn't get a chance to scrutinize what was in there. I do plan to go back to see if there's any hints or teasers of things to come. Did you see anything, though, or anybody else?
I haven't yet, but it looks like it's about to be released either on... no. I have to wait until it's on TV. until I can rent it.
Yeah, what I noticed in the trailer is that the beginning, like the 60% of the trailer is pretty much one Viking on their own, kind of going about their day, doing Valheim things. There's a few really interesting builds that have been showcased. And I was wondering if they took builds from the community or if it was builds that the Iron Gate team have built, but some really impressive builds. And then the last kind of 20, 30%, it's only scenes with 5 or more people, 5 or more characters in game. And they really seem to emphasize that kind of multiplayer aspect, which is a first. Like, I've not really seen Iron Gate push that so far. So I thought it was really interesting that they suddenly had like there's like a scene, a very brief scene where you see lots of Vikings in a feast hall, like shouting, saying skull or whatever. And then there's a scene where there's like 5-6 Vikings walking in the plains and so on. And I was like, that's interesting. Maybe they are finally kind of opening up or embracing that multiplayer aspect. I know they're very keen to keep the game playable as much, as enjoyable in solo as multiplayer, but I thought that was quite interesting to see that they were definitely embracing the multiplayer aspect. So yeah, maybe that's something that they're going to really push hard for because of the console. And it's true that, console, you probably would want to, I don't know, play with other people online. That was just
that they are doing that because of the crossplay. Every time a game it can be played online, and they have crossplay, they show it off a lot because it's something that is really weird due to the connection and some kind of problem that the console have with the compatibility with the games. And every time a game put crossplay, they show it off a lot. And it's a good thing. Being able to play around any platform is really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I was just letting the trailer play in the background while you guys were talking about it. And the one thing I did notice that is not in standard Valheim is there is an Olv running in the swamps or right near the swamp. Because the fen rings are on 2 legs, right? They don't get on.
Well, sometimes they do. Sometimes they not when. I think they do get on all 4s at some point in some animations.
When they crouch to jump.
Like when they leap. No, but this is an Olv running across the ground on all 4s. So I don't know if they just did that for the shot or because I would love to see the enemies in the frost caves outside the frost caves as well. The only thing we see outside the frost caves are the bats right now for the raid event. So I think it's a little unfortunate, especially for those people who like to build zoos and things or, capture, the enemies. You can't capture right now a cultist or an Olv because they're not out in the real world. That'll be interesting to see. I'll have to ask one of the devs if that's going to be a thing or if it was just a thing for the trailer.
We'll find out, I guess.
And I just want to take a quick break from the show to share with you one of my sponsors, the Grimfrost, an amazing company that sells really, really cool Viking products. They have over 1,000 different modern and historical Viking products. If you're interested, you should check them out. I have a link in the description, or you can go to my website, jiroctheviking.com/Grimfrost. Now back to the show.
In other news, they also have been over the past couple of weeks doing a giveaway in celebration of the movie The Northman coming out. And so if you go over to their official Valheim Discord, you'll see that they posted a bunch of really cool wallpapers and things, and they're running the giveaway. But I think by the time this podcast comes out, I think it will be over. The deadline to enter will be over, but you've got chances to win Valheim Steam keys and also stream keys for the actual movie to watch The Northman in the US and in Canada. I guess for licensing reasons, they were limited to the North American continent. But it's cool to see that they did this cool collaboration with another Viking-themed media. I know, Jiroc, you've watched The Northman. We haven't actually spoken about The Northman yet on this podcast.
Not in any detail. I definitely enjoyed it, especially from the creative filmmaking standpoint. There's always these films that are, most stories are told in a traditional storytelling sense, meaning there's a setup, there's all these things that people in those stories try to deal with, and then eventually a final conclusion. And in this, it's a little bit more artsy in that they do a lot of cutaways to epic fantasy, Viking related fantasy things that are not actually happening in the story, but are to give a sense of the spiritual experience of the character in the scene. And so it's like this artistic choice to kind of cut away from traditional narrative to show you these things. And this director has actually done this really well in a movie called The Lighthouse and in The Witch or The Vivitch. And he did it in this movie as well. I actually think that he's one of the best creative directors in the movie industry right now. And for that, I really loved it. Now it can be a little hard to swallow for some because it is not a traditional narrative and you're trying to follow a story that's very traditional narrative, but it's absolutely fascinating. And I watched the Welsh Viking cover it, and he said basically it's pretty authentic. He had a few nitpicks here and there, but he did say, if I recall correctly, that it was one of the most authentic Viking portrayals in film or television to date. So even though it's a fantasy, and like I mentioned with these fantastical things, but the clothing they wore, the way they lived, the houses they built, a lot of that stuff was very authentic. So that was kind of nice. And I read lots of articles about the director being very keen on the authenticity with, some caveats, some he took some licenses here and there.
Artistic license, of course. Yeah. But yeah, I've heard that also about that director. I am quite keen to watch The Witch. I heard it was a great movie, and just looking at some of the pictures of the movies, you can tell, like, just by looking at the costumes, the quality, you can see the hand sewing. Like that is, like one of the things as someone who's really into historical clothing and costuming. It's those little details that just show you. Also, the fabrics that are being used are like the fabrics of that era, so mostly natural fibers and so on. And it's those kind of little details that really kind of give away the level of authenticity and so on. So I did feel like in The Northman, they were very true to that. Of course, as you said, I think all the setting, the context, the way people lived, the way what they were eating and what they were wearing and all of that was quite authentic. Of course, the premise of the story itself, and as you say, there was a lot of fantasy. The whole kind of berserker trope is also very kind of, it's more around the sagas and the mythology than what actually existed. But it was, quite an enjoyable watch for sure. I did drool over some of the costumes.
Yeah, I've had mixed reactions from different people I've asked on the server or in real life. And some of them really liked it for its artistic and just being a very different type of movie than you've ever seen. And some people were a little bit turned off by that it was, I don't know, the one scene that points out that I have a few people mention as a scene that they didn't like in the movie and why they didn't like, a lot of the movie, because it does somewhat similar things, was the berserker scene between Alexander Skarsgård when he was a little boy. So he's a little boy character of him, and his father when they go to the shaman character. And they're doing like that little wolf, like berserker ceremony where they're pretending to be wolves, and they're just shouting and howling and growling. And then the father burps and the little boy farts because he's trying to get a burp out, but he farts instead. And just like so many people were turned off by that, and they use that as an example to just say, this movie is silly or stupid. And I'm like, that's all you saw was a burp and a fart? There's so much amazing stuff in that movie that it's just like, it blew my mind, really. Like all three of his movies that I've seen so far have blown my mind. The Witch still might be my favorite, but I really enjoyed The Lighthouse and I really enjoyed The Northman. I highly recommend them.
Yeah. Well, so now you can go and get yourself a beautiful Northman wallpaper for your desktop if you want. If you head over to the official Valheim Discord.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I want. Alexander Skarsgård's abs all over my desktop, so my wife can come and hang and drool over my shoulder.
Oh my word!
Yeah, any movie that he's in, like no matter how obscure or how bad the movie is, she says, "Oh, put that on the wish list for me, so that I can watch it later." I said, log into your own account and add it to your wish list. I'm not putting that crap on my wish list.
Oh, you're funny.
So let's talk about we talked about Valheim news, and let's talk about some server events and updates. Morning, you want to start us off with that?
Yeah, so I would like to welcome a fairly generously large number of people who joined our server this week. Let's hope I pronounce these correctly. I am so sorry if I don't. We have Sigmunder, we have Eagle Scream, Bigfoot, IMAOG, Jonuls, Bucket, and Caldane. Welcome to Jiroc's Playground.
Yeah, big influx of players this week, and that's fun to see. It's always nice to keep the community healthy, because we do have, people get distracted, and we sometimes lose a few players each month just because they're playing another game or they just don't have time to play, especially with the summer. There's always so many summer activities. I notice that a lot of people take breaks or wander off and do other things. So having a bunch of new players come in is great to help make sure there's always somebody on the server, almost 24 I think 24 hours a day, there's somebody on the server. And if there's not, you can always count on Brudak being there. Hey, Brudak, shout out. Or Gorth, yeah.
No kidding, yeah.
But yeah, no, lots of players on the server. And actually, there's an event running on the server right now that I set up right before the podcast. I'm circling around the event area as we speak. So this will probably play during the podcast if people want to see a visual instead of just listen to us.
Nice. There was a couple of other events and activities that were actually organized by the community members, which is always very nice. So we had a birthday celebration of Ursa, one of our players, who invited us all to her tavern that she had been building with another player, I believe her fiance. And they invited us all. A bunch of us went in. We had a little feast. We went around the build. We actually they toured the build for us. And some really cool ideas and really cool builds.
That church they built.
Fun and shenanigans. Yeah, they built a church, and it was really, because they were like, oh, well, we wanted to make a village and we wanted to make it look like a proper village that was lived in. So they had like a little marketplace, and then they had built this church because they were like, yeah, well, usually in villages in Europe, you have churches. So the church was really interesting and cool. There was even like a little confessional as well. I almost got stuck in there. Probably because of all of my sins. There was also like a little graveyard next to the church that was very cleverly done, using, I think, the stone throne as the how do you call
the gravestone?
Not the grave marker,
as the tombstone.
Yeah, the actual
I've
gravestone.
Seen that.
Yes. Yeah, and then there was a couple that had like bones placed on item stands, and then I think Jiroc left a gift. You spawned in some actual skeletons, like the ones that we have in some of the burial chambers and so on, as a bit of a birthday gift. So that was really nice.
Yeah, whenever I see a graveyard, I love seeing like the skeletal remains around them. So it was her birthday. They were showing us their build in their graveyard. And so, I dropped off. They're like called forest skeletal remains or something in the code. And there's 4 or 5 different types.
Yeah.
And so, I dropped a bunch of different types around their graves. And I think it was just what it needed to find a little spark for that creepiness.
Nice.
Yeah.
And they did something really cool as well. They built a fence. The fence to the graveyard was built with item stands and the bones. The how do you call them? How are they called?
The withered bones.
Yes. No. The withered bones.
Withered
the big withered bones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd never seen a fence made of withered bones.
I had never seen that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm so sorry I missed it.
Oh, yeah.
And I miss it too.
And they took us to this one room and they showed us a couple of their trophies hanging on the wall and some other stuff. And I popped a chair on the wall because they had a little Death Skeeto trophy sticking up there next to some big trophies. And it looked so pathetic. It was so tiny up there. You could barely see it. But I popped a chair up on the wall and then Gwen sat in it and we resized using item stand all items. We resized the Death Skeeto trophy and it made it look like a giant Death Skeeto head for Gwen, who is known on our server as Queen Skeeto.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that was quite funny.
I think there's a picture in our general pics channel if anybody wants to see it.
Yeah, you might need to scroll up a bit, but yeah, I definitely posted a picture. I feel like now I have to get the wearable trophies mod and just walk around with a mosquito face.
You should do it.
Yes.
That'd be funny, especially on your admin character.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, and then I can fly around and just like creep people out.
Yeah, and in chat you can type BZZZZZ.
But yeah, that was a really fun event. It was lovely. It was a birthday celebration like we often do, but it was really nice to have different people hosting it. So I think we'll make it more of a thing of just hosting like every week or every weekend or something, a feast in all the different taverns that we have around our world, because there's so many amazing builds to visit and a lot of people have built taverns and really nice feast halls, so might as well. And then on the weekend, we also had another bunch of players who organized a campfire storytelling evening. So we have an incredible writer on our server, Isadorel, I believe is her name. And she is really good at like creative writing and she loves writing both about like fantasy worlds and in our Valheim server, but also outside of it, I believe. And she started a couple of weeks ago writing this kind of whole story where she was describing events on the server, but just written in such a great way. And a lot of people on the server really enjoy reading those stories. So they organized an evening where she would read out some of her stories. And I unfortunately couldn't make it for that evening. But I saw some pictures of Vikings around a campfire and Izzy sat on her throne telling the stories. I don't know if any of you made it to that event.
I did not. Were you there?
No, I couldn't. I wasn't available that day, but I was just wondering if any of you had been. But
yeah, I think all of us here missed it.
Bambi and a couple of others. Yeah, we missed it. I was hoping that someone would record it because I really wanted to like play it back. I think Izzy did actually stream it on Twitch, but I don't know if it's replayable. So yeah, I'll have to check and maybe we'll pop the link in the description if it is still up there to watch.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, hopefully they'll do more of those. Apparently she left them on a cliffhanger, so there has to be another one now to hear the rest of the story.
Yeah, I didn't even know that this happened. When did this happen? Was I out of town and
I think it was
away
Saturday, I think.
It was Saturday.
Okay.
You were probably at your wedding.
I was in the middle of the wedding. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So a couple other things going on in the server. We did some more reinforced frost caves where basically the enemies are buffed up in toughness. And we have chests hidden around inside the frost caves, which some people were having a really hard time finding, which is great because now they actually have to explore and look around and be really attentive to the environment. And those caves are so dark, right? So they're hard to see. And I did place the chests in very hard to reach places. So that's always fun to see the players, instead of just running in, killing and running out, they have to look around a little bit and be real perceptive. And then, of course,
interesting.
We did a Serpent's Nest event, which I try to do one each week, and posted it out in the middle of the ocean. And I have this, basically I have a blueprint of it now, and it's a big giant circle of ruined stones and some boulders and some things. And I place 2 elders in either end with infinite health. And then something I did not know is that Bone Mass floats. He's the only boss that floats. So I can place him in the water and he'll just float around out there in the ocean and cause havoc for the players. So that's kind of fun. If I place any of the other bosses, like Motor will fly around, but everything else just sinks to the bottom of the ocean. So I had to make these special little platforms for the Elder. And what's great about the Elder is he has this really far-reaching ranged attack. And so I give all those bosses infinite health, and then I spawn a bunch of high-level serpents in the center of these ruins out in the ocean. And then the players have to try to kill the serpents while dealing with these bosses attacking them. In the past, I didn't make the bosses immune, and so they would just sail around their boats and shoot the bosses until they were dead, and then just easily go in and pull the serpents up onto land and kill them. So it wasn't much of a challenge. But now with invulnerable bosses trying to stop them the whole time, I think they're really having a good time with the challenge of trying to get their serpent meat, because, of course, it's a great way to get serpent meat instead of just sailing around randomly to find serpent meat. Have anybody here had a chance to do one of the Serpent's Nest events?
I've been in a few of them, and I actually have to say something. The ones with the drakes were the most easy ones because I just needed to aggro the drakes into the serpents, and they will do the work for me.
Yeah, that's why I don't use drakes anymore, because they will do the work for you. Because that's the thing. Mm-hmm. Everything attacks a serpent. A serpent has no allies. So
right.
Even if I spawn leeches, they'll fight. I was hoping that, just because they are both water creatures, but now leeches are swamp creatures, swamp allies. So the only thing that won't attack a serpent is one of the Forsaken bosses. So that's why they're there to help them while everybody's trying to kill them.
Interesting. Yeah, I tried to get some people to go with me and go into the Serpent's Nest, but one of the people was like, I don't want to die a bunch of times. I'm working on getting my skills up to 100 each.
Oh yeah. That's a thing on the server now, because we have a new achievement system, and getting your skills to 100 is one of them, which we're going to talk about here pretty soon. And the other thing for
foreshadowing.
Yeah. One of the things I like to do is have raids around the server in various places. And right now there's, like I said, there's a raid going on in the deep north right now that the camera is circling around. But I have been sending the raids after the Loki raids after their hotel they build on the resource server. The temporary resource server resets every 2 weeks. And there's an achievement involved with helping to stop those raids. So a lot of people get out there to try to help clean the area of the mobs. And they're having fun with that. But talking about achievements, and that's going to lead us into Season 2 adventure map coming up. I'm so excited about it. You guys excited?
Yeah, I know how much work has been put into it by yourself and the admins and all the builders who are helping building the interesting locations for this new server. So yeah, definitely excited. And so what's the date? When is it launching? Can we finally announce?
Yeah, it's going to launch on July 7th. And that's going to be, I think that's a Thursday. And that's going to be 12 p.m. Pacific time. I think it's 7 p.m. GMT. And Friday for our Australian friends and people who are in the future, like to say. Even you, Gwen, are in the future for us over here back in the past.
Yeah, exactly. So can you tell us more about season 2? Like, what is it exactly, and how is it different than our main servers, and also how is it different than season 1?
Oh yeah, so our main servers are really, we have the Viking Playground. It's the permanent vanilla server. Mods are optional. Some mods are optional, the proved ones. And we have a complimentary resource server that resets every 2 weeks, where you can go and get resources and explore caves and dungeons, because a lot of them have been already explored and looted on the main server. But every 2 weeks, that resource server resets. So those are the 2 permanent servers that we have. And we also have a creative build server, which every once in a while, if they want to build something with other players, they'll go over there and do a little building. But I think a lot of people who want to do creative build tests and whatnot will do it on their single player. So that's our main servers. And then season 1 was an adventure server with a bunch of custom content, custom POIs. And it was so popular, we ended up running 3 versions. We ran a normal version, or I should say a normal difficulty, and then a no map, where you have no map and no radar, so you really have to pay attention to how you're getting around. And then eventually we did a hard mode, because there are a group of players who really like the combat challenge, and so they wanted harder mobs and everything to take on. And I think that the hard mode turned some people off, but the hard mode's not for everybody. Neither is no map, but that's why we did the 3 different versions. I was there. Yeah, you were in hard mode. Did you enjoy the challenge of hard mode? Because in my opinion, I think the standard game is fairly easy. Did you enjoy all those hard challenges, Vaste?
I have a lot of fun, especially playing with more people, because it was needed. And I should ask for the achievement of having 0 level in every skill also. That hard mode took a big hit on that.
Yeah. And so season 1 had a bunch of POIs, which are points of interest. So they're hand built content we place around the world. And that's the thing about Valheim. It has these interesting little ruins, villages, dungeons around the world, but none of them are real elaborate, at least not until the Frost Caves came. And even like the Yagloth fingers. Remember the first time you saw the Yagloth fingers? Were you like me, where you just like your jaw dropped and you're thinking, what is that over there?
Yeah.
I got the Doom music, like the "Here is the boss."
Yeah.
Sounding like in my head, I saying, no, this is not the moment to go there.
Yeah. That looks cool, but it's probably really dangerous. I should stay away until I get further in the game. So yeah, that's one of the things I've always wanted was have more interesting locations around the world. So we hand build these points of interest, these POIs, and place them all around the world. And season 1 had custom spawners too, to keep mobs. Well, the hard mode had custom spawners, and it also had high level armor and weapons, higher level than you can make. So you'd go into one of these custom builds, you'd fight the enemies, and then you'd get the high level armor or weapons, which we called artifacts at the time. Season 2 is going to have even more immersive POIs, builds, way more elaborate builds. So amazing. I cannot wait to basically do a video on every individual build, because they're so cool. But instead of having artifacts or these high level items that only one person can obtain, because it's in a chest, whoever gets it, and then there's nothing there. Season 2 is instead going to have this new achievement system that will get you points, and eventually, when you get enough points, everyone can earn a reward. So not just the person who happens to get to the chest at a build first. So I think that's a pretty exciting new development. What do you guys think about that? Does that sound like a better way to do that?
Well, that's great because I really, even though I was on No Map, which was a much slower progression map for season 1, I felt like I kept missing out on things because I can't take the time and go out and sailing when my kid's awake and, all these other things. So that's really phenomenal that it really does eliminate that FOMO, that fear of missing out experience.
Yeah.
So that's fabulous.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because that just means that players that are a bit more casual like me, who can only log in, like, say, once a week, if less, can still enjoy the map and not feel like, oh, there's no point because everything's already been looted or whatever. So yeah, it will be nice to actually have like that same experience for everyone of the locations. When we do find them, we'll just experience it like everyone else would before us. So yeah, the repeatability is really cool.
Yeah, and the achievements will follow us into Discord and everywhere. I'm a hardcore player, so I will show them off a lot. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, a lot of people they're seeing the achievements as I post a few more each week onto the achievements page, and some people think, well, I'm not like my play style is maybe less combat and more community or build oriented or vice versa. But yeah, there's several players who think every achievement that comes up, I'm going to do every single one of them. So that's fun. But yeah, building POIs takes so much work, and then placing them out in the world and populating them with mobs for everybody to fight. And season 1, pretty much when one of these builds was cleared and the loot was taken, it felt like there was really no reason for anybody else to go there because the mobs were all dead and the loot was gone. And in a lot of cases, part of the build got destroyed from the battle, right?
Yeah, although I will say that for those who left up portals to go and visit those locations, especially on No Map, I still went and checked out as many as I could and really did enjoy sort of the aesthetic and the atmosphere and, all the things that had been placed there, and not just for the loot or the battle. It was very intriguing and interesting to be a part of that. So, speaking of, can you tell us more about these custom built locations for season 2? I mean, I know some, but I'm curious as to what kinds of things we should expect to see.
Yeah. So again, there's going to be lots of custom built locations, more than 50. It sort of actually depends on how many I can place at this point. And these locations include really immersive builds that like feel natural to the world. It was one of my requirements to the builders. I don't just want some weird structure that's like a weird parkour thing or some kind of twisty, weird thing that is like an art sculpture, but I want builds that feel natural to the world. So things like old decrepit bridges, which we saw in the Mistlands pictures. They have old bridges in there. So we have old bridges too that are handcrafted and built by our admins. Giant windmill houses, watermill houses, taverns, castles, coliseums, and many other builds that feel like they're part of a living world. Like it feels like somebody built it long ago and, now abandoned and there for you to explore. Many of them, we rotate the pieces to make them look old and ruined. And we pull pieces off and we put them on the ground just below where it looks like it fell out of the wall and rotate it in a way. And it's actually one of the reasons why I wish we could rotate pieces on all axes, because you can just really make a build feel interesting and like it's old. And with the current build system, everything you build, it pretty much feels like it was just built yesterday. Unless, of course, you don't cover your build and it rains and it gets a little bit of green and warped.
Right.
There's going to be some really fun challenges, like there's parkour things. There's these sort of puzzles you have to try to figure out which way to go through the builds. There's places where you may even fall through a rug if you're not careful. So you got to kind of pay attention to where you're going, because maybe a rug is placed to cover a hole, and you kind of like take some damage and have to backtrack. But if you're clever and you're paying attention to things that are placed in certain places, you might think, maybe I shouldn't walk over there. Or you have to investigate things that are hanging. There's hanging rugs, there's hanging banners, there's hanging vines, and there could be hidden passageways behind there. There's so many cool things like that throughout these builds, which we actually...
I can't wait to... I was just going to say, I can't wait to press on a brick and have a whole wall rotate like in the movies.
Oh, yeah. I
secret passageways open.
Yeah, I wish we had pieces that would actuate. We don't really have any pieces that like actuate. You can open doors and that's about it right now. But yeah, like a trigger that like we could trigger something or step on. Like in Minecraft, you have switches that will open things, or pressure pads you step on that will open things. I want you to step on a pressure plate and have darts shoot at you like in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, exactly.
So we also have books, volumes, tomes that in the form of signs. We use signs and we label them and stack them like on bookshelves so to make them look like books. And these are hidden all throughout the POIs. And actually, Morning, you've contributed to the books a lot, haven't you?
I think I've given a list of something like 160 or 180 books for people to use. And then, there's of course the Encyclopedia Valheimia that I just created.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you come up with all these really fun book titles so we can label the books, which even if you're not finding one of the tomes of knowledge immediately, that's usually hidden within all the books. The tomes of knowledge are what you need to get the achievement, but the other books have these fun titles that I really recommend when you play. Go through all the books you see, because you'll get a chuckle out of many of them because of the joke that's kind of there, or just the clever titles that people have come up with. Most of them right now by Morning Darkness here, but a few other players. Canaris had a bunch also in a couple of his recent builds. But yeah, really fun and kind of an immersive thing. That is, of course, if there's not too many mobs trying to hit you while you're trying to read the books. So for the achievement system there too, the players just take a screenshot of the book with the specific title that they're looking for to get the achievement. And then next we have custom built dungeons. And this is actually one of my, besides the amazing builds that are in the overworld, in the forests and the plains and all the different places, custom built dungeons. I did a whole video on custom built dungeons and how I'm doing them. So check that out if you're interested. But basically they replace the old simple burial chambers and sunken crypts with a much more exciting new custom modular dungeon system that I created. And these dungeons all have their own themes. And the modular system allows us to place rooms, hallways, stairwells, giant boss fight rooms in various configurations, basically like Legos. We connect them here, there. So there's endless possibilities. We have 30 or more, 40 different modular pieces. Kind of like the new Frost Cave system has a bunch of rooms, hallways, but instead of an algorithm that they use putting things together, ours are handmade and configured and have an even larger variation in the creativity, because it all depends on what the player comes up with. For example, there's that one of the upgrades is the has an axe in it. What is it called? The cutting. Anybody remember? No, one of the upgrades for the workbenches, it has an axe sticking out of it and out of like a stump.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the ads?
Or the table, it has an axe sticking out of the table. Cutting board? Cutting board. Is that what it's called?
Oh, you mean for the
chopping
kitchen. The chopping block.
thing.
Chopping block.
Chopping block, yeah.
Yes, the chopping block. I knew we'd get there eventually. The chopping block.
Because there are two different ones for the workbench, and then there's the kitchen. So
I was like, cutting board, that sounds more like a kitchen thing.
Yeah.
Right,
the other one is like a log that the axe is sticking out of. But that chopping block, like just a little sneak peek is there's a whole bunch of dungeons built to this weird sacrificial cultist theme. And so this chopping block has been placed in various places with other build pieces around it to hide the original chopping block. And there's a bunch of headless skeletons next to it that have been beheaded by it. And just so many cool things like that. Another sneak peek is barrels that have spilled out this strange green oozy stuff that if you get too close actually causes damage. And I'm not going to reveal exactly.
Radioactive barrels.
Yeah, I'm not going to reveal exactly how that's done. But when you see that theme, I can't. It's so fun. So the modular system is awesome because we can create so many variations with the same room pieces. And if you come up with a different theme, you already have the room. All you do is you clean it out of the decorations. And you redecorate it for the new theme, and then even though it's the same shape of room, it has a totally different theme, so it can have a totally different feel, and then placed together with other systems. The modular system is great. I totally understand why they did it in game, and obviously an algorithm is probably best. So there's just like these endless possibilities from their standpoint. But because we actually have more people on our staff than they do at Iron Gate, so we can go through and take the time to build very specific custom modular dungeons. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, that sounds super exciting. And I'm also curious about this new Valheim achievement system that you've mentioned a couple of times. It sounds to me like it's a new way to add like content and things to do in the game. Can you explain how the system works in more detail?
Yeah, so most games have an achievement system these days. And if not, then Steam usually has an achievement system for the game that somebody's put together. And Valheim, I might get an official achievement system after its official 1.0 release. I think I remember hearing or reading about that somewhere. But until then, I've created my own custom Valheim achievement system. And it's really just a way to add more content. It gives the player, goals and things to do. It's kind of like a quest system, but there's no quest giver. You decide which achievements you feel like doing that fit your play style. Or if your play style is like Vaste, you just do all of them, right, Vaste?
Of course.
Which
it's like Pokemon. You got to catch them all.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the really crazy one I prepared for the achievement, so I'm still waiting for them.
Well, yeah, we should talk more about that later. But yeah, Vaste and some of the other staff members on my server have made lots of suggestions. So really right now, the achievement system is working. We have a person who has built Kondo, one of the admins on our server, a spreadsheet. And the achievement system is already running. So it's this beautiful spreadsheet where you can track everything and log everything. Super exciting. So the achievements right now, they're going to include, for season 2 especially, they're going to include some achievements like exploration achievements to find interesting things that are just placed throughout the world. And that's, for me, one of the best things about a big open survival world is exploring it and finding interesting, new, cool things. So you're going to be rewarded for getting out and finding these things with achievement points if you find them in the world. There's also, as I mentioned before, the hidden tomes of knowledge, the books the signs we use as books. They're hidden throughout POIs and in a couple of other places, which I'm not going to reveal here. People will have to try to be clever and find it. It'll be interesting to see who shares what knowledge as they go out into the world, or if they just leave it for other people to find themselves. I do imagine there might be a little trading. One person will say, well, I found this over here. I'll share it with you if you should tell me what you found over there. And then there's also a Safari Explorer achievement where you can earn achievement points by capturing new creatures on camera, which, in the form of a screenshot. And these new creatures were added using mods to add more variety and basically fauna to the world. Because right now, Valheim feels like it could probably have, what would you guys say, maybe 4 or 5 more critters or monsters running around in each biome?
Yeah, I was going to say per biome, right?
Yes, per biome. Yes, 4 or 5. Every biome needs 4 or 5 more, or 10 or 20 more.
That is such a fun achievement. I can't wait for that one, the Safari Explorer achievement. I will finally fulfill my childhood dreams of becoming a wildlife reporter. I'll do it in Valheim.
I'm sure I will slay more of taking picture, but I need to know. You say all biomes. I need some sushi. I need something more of that. Can you tell us?
You'll have to wait until you get into the world and see. But yeah, so using mods to add extra creatures around the world, some kind of adorable and some kind of very scary. And the reason why I thought the Safari Explorer achievement was so exciting was because not everybody is, as comfortable fighting as other people or as skilled at fighting. So maybe you can just run into the scary area, take the picture, and then run away, and then you get the achievement. You don't actually have to kill it.
Yep, that's totally made for me. Thumbs up.
Awesome. And achievement points can earn the player special things on the main permanent Viking playground server. So wherever you earn achievement points on any of my servers, they all go into one big pool of points, of achievement points for you as an individual player. And some of the rewards that you can earn are, like the fire sword that's in game that you can't make. That's one of the rewards. We also have a set of high level tools that are higher level than you can make in the game, and a few other things. So, but even without the awards, it just gives you something to get out and do. And once, because once you've killed Yagloth, there's not a lot else to do.
You say Yagloth doesn't have. After Yaglu, we don't have anything else to do, but we will have something else to do after defeating Yaglu in Season 2. There's something else a part of these things, because Mistlands, Ashlands, and Deep North are really empty. I want to know if they are going to keep that way.
Well, yeah. Normally the Mistlands, Ashlands, and Deep North are empty, unless you have an old world, right, that has some of the Mistlands. If you explored them, it will have spawned the old trees and things there. But now it's completely empty if you explore the Mistlands. But with the help of mods, I populated the Mistlands with the old Mistlands content and a few extra things that never existed there. You'll have to see when you go, which of course includes things like the giant dead trees, the skulls, webs, rocks. There's going to be glowing mushrooms and, like I said, a few other cool things. And the Deep North and the Ashlands also have trees and these pillars and interesting rock formations and just a lot of things to make it feel like a regular biome. No wasteland now, because right now there's really, in the standard game, there's no real reason to go to the Deep North. There's nothing there. The Ashlands, maybe if you want to get some of that ore that's down there. What's that ore called?
The Flum-metal.
The Flum-metal. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that could be a fun decoration if you are using item stand all items. But right now, there's no other purpose for it. But now there's a purpose to go down there because these biomes are full of content, and they're all going to include POIs as well. So there'll be a reason to go there. But in addition, I'm using mods to add new creatures to all the biomes. They're very scary. Get your safari hat on and go out and start taking pictures, or sharpen your axe if you're going to go fight them. This includes the ocean biome. So be careful when you're out there swimming in the water or sailing around. Serpents aren't the only threat now.
Oh my goodness. Really?
Yep.
Oh, man, All right. So you had 3 versions of season 1. We had the normal run, and then we had the no map, and then later you were saying, oh, you guys thought that was easy. Let's make it hard, and did hard mode. So will you have 3 versions of season 2 this time?
So we'll start with a normal difficulty mode. I think it's going to be challenging but fun, and a no map version as well. Because there are some people that I finally convinced that no map was super immersive and fun, and I think they enjoyed it last time. Yourself and Gwen, right? You guys played no map. Are you guys going to play no map for season 2?
Yes. Yes.
No map for life.
I was the hardest,
life, but at least for the seasons.
fight against no map. I was absolutely against it. I was adamant that didn't make the game fun. And look at me now. I'm like, yes, bring on more no map. I'm on Twitch convincing other streamers, hey, you should try a no map run. I'm doing my own no map run on Twitch. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's just funny how sometimes, you don't know till you try it. And, now it's your thing. That's awesome. What about you, Vaste? Is no map your jam, or are you looking at maybe doing the normal difficulty?
I know no map. I will do the normal survival.
Oh, okay. You like your map too much, huh?
I die too much to not have the map, so that's the thing.
Okay.
Hey, you die too much? Have you seen me, Baste? Have you seen me? And I survived the no map run, so
I won.
As an excuse.
I won. I clearly won, but I also want to do... I like the big rush, so having no map slows down everything, so I prefer having the map and rushing throughout everything.
You're so excited, you just want to get out there and find everything. You don't want to be slowed down that much, huh?
I was building some of the points for the building for the server, so I want to see some people get into my trolling buildings.
Or you're just going to sit there by your builds the whole time, just see how other players are doing.
No, I will tell them the wrong way to do it.
Oh,
like you tried to do with your troll cave.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're like, go down that hall. You'll be fine. Oh, they fell through the floor because there was a rug hiding a hole and they died. Well, eventually there might be, if there's enough interest, we might consider a hard mode at some point down the line. But believe it or not, I am actually already speaking with a couple of the builders about season 3, because we've learned so much that and they're so interested now in just building in creative mode that they're asking me, well, when you launch season 2, can I keep building? Do you need more stuff? And I said, oh yes, I would like to promptly launch season 3 when season 2 ends. So if we can get enough of the content made, then absolutely. So yeah, that will happen. But yeah, hard mode. Yeah, if there's enough interest, we can beef up the difficulty and launch that at some point if there's enough interest.
Think of thinking of that and the difficulty levels. Maybe in one of the future seasons, rather than having separate servers, you could have like almost, like the ski run system where you've got like color coding. The hard run is the black run, and then you've got like blue and red and green and all of that. Maybe it could be something like that where you've got POIs that are marked as certain difficulties. So that everyone can play on the same server, but if you're hardcore like Baste, you go and take the black run.
Okay, I will spoil one thing about season 2 since you brought up exactly the thing that exists on season 2.
Oh, really? I didn't even know.
You didn't even know, but you suggested something that it exists. So season 2, it has a mod that basically makes the mobs more difficult the further out from the center of the world you get.
Oh, okay.
So if you're one who wants to explore and go further and further out, it's going to get a little bit more difficult.
I will need a ship ASAP.
You accept the challenge.
I face the challenge even if I die and go back to spawn.
Well, that sounds so exciting. So remind us, when does season 2 launch?
Yeah.
And what's the deadline to sign up as well?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
season 2, again, it launches July 7th. That's a Thursday, unless you're in the future in Australia or somewhere. 12 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. GMT. But the last day to sign up for season 2 and join everyone on launch day, if you want to get in on launch day or even launch weekend through from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the last day to get in on the initial launch weekend is going to be Sunday, July 3rd. And that's because we have so much to do so many last minute preparations for the launch. And we just won't have time to take on new players, because when we take on new players, it's not like a lot of servers. If you've played on multiplayer servers, we don't just open up the server and let you run around and do your thing. We have you fill out an application. You've got to have an interview. And then we like to do a little introduction and show you around a couple of key places on the server to just get you started and understand the world. And this is just to create a healthy community. And we just don't have time to do that the few days right before launch. So if you really want to get in on the initial weekend, please sign up now so that you can get together with a group and get to know people.
Yeah, I would say if you're just holding out on season 2 launching, join now, join a couple of weeks before, because anyway, we'll get you started on the main playground and the main permanent servers. And it's just a great way to get a sense for the community, for the players. As Jiroc said, maybe finding a couple of players that you want to have the adventure with when season 2 launches. It's just good to be already like part of the community before we launch, and that way you can also be part of all the excitement and the lead up and all the teasers that we get from Jiroc leading up to season 2 launching. So yeah, don't wait, join us now. There's plenty of stuff to do leading up to season 2 launch. There's events every a couple times a week. There's events either from admins or from the community. There's lots of build competitions and things to keep everyone busy until July the 7th. So yeah, join now. How do we sign up?
Yeah, so if you go to my website, jiroctheviking.com, and submit an application. Also, if you just want to get to know the community, ask questions, feel it out to see if the community here is right for you, it's great to just join the Discord channel. We have over 1,000 people hanging out there, and you can ask questions, just get to know people, and you do that at discord.gg/JirocTheViking.
Sweet. And players can join season 2 even the following week, right? If they miss the deadline for launch weekend, they can still join later. Or if they are on holidays on July 7th, like some of us are, we can still join later and still take part in the fun, right?
Sure, yeah. Season 2 is different from season 1 in that every POI and achievement can be done by anyone at any time, because we have custom spawners that replace the enemies after players clear an area so that the next group that comes through can experience the fun also. So you don't have to worry about, well, first off, we'll have time to process your application and get you onboarded. But when you come into the season 2, unlike season 1, when you come into season 2, all those really cool POIs and things to see and do in the game, they won't have been cleared by other players. They'll still be there, fresh and ready for you to experience as though you were the first one who ever found it.
Cool.
I'd like to go to one of our segments that we enjoy talking about, and it's one thing we'd like to see changed in game. Morning, what would you like to see changed if you could?
Really? This again? All right. Let's see. I think that the ability to eventually do something with or on Yggdrasil, get up to that world tree, or have that be maybe a final end game destination point or something. I think that would be fun.
That sounds awesome. And actually, I remember one of the devs hinting that Yggdrasil, there would be something more involved with Yggdrasil in the future, but they wouldn't really allude to what. But maybe something like what you're saying, maybe we'll be able to visit it or get closer to it or something. That would be awesome. I'd love to build on it myself.
Right? Yeah, that.
What about you, Vaste? If you could change one thing, what would it be?
I have one that it was something I was thinking about, because we have a really good interface and the building menu is really good. And I was thinking that they should do the same for the crafting menus for when you use the core room, the workbench, or the forge, because there you have a long list of all the items and they've been adding things and I always losing what I wanted to do. So I would really like they do. Yeah. Like a simple one, just armor, weapons, and mix in the same way they do the building. Because when you do those crafting, you are focusing on that. You are not doing anything else, so you can make it bigger.
Yeah, that's very true. I never thought of that. And I mean, I've always been frustrated by the crafting menu because, as you say, you have to scroll down a long list. When you're on the max level workbench, you have to scroll down so far to find the one item you want. And I don't think there's a search bar either, so you can't just type the item that you're looking for. So you just have to scroll. That's a great idea to have like a craft menu, just like the build menu, where you could have categories. So for example, you could have like armor different than weapons, different than like other things, random things to build. Because right now it's just all mixed up in one long list, right?
Yeah, the things you have the materials on you, they go first. But if you are looking to look for those materials, you need to check all the list.
Yeah. Search bar would be great. And categories, the way that they're organized would be awesome. Well, what about you, Gwen? What would you change if you could?
I'm going to cite a thing that one of our players has suggested on Discord earlier today, which I really like the idea of. And especially as we were talking about adventure maps and you were talking about how immersive all the locations are to make it feel like it's a lived-in world, it would be great to have some sort of NPCs maybe, or more characters, whether they're other Vikings or animals that populate the world a bit better. I think that player's idea was to have, like, for example, people that you could employ in your village as, I don't know, farmers, or just people to be kind of walking around in the background. And I really like that idea because, right now you kind of, especially if you're playing solo, it's a very lonely, empty world. Like the only friends that you can make are the animals that you can tame. Or the mobs trying to kill you.
Or go sit next to Haldor.
Yeah, exactly. It's other than that, it's very lonely. So I like that idea of having some sort of like NPC. Maybe they're just, things that you can add in somehow, like craft people. That's kind of sounds weird, but maybe then they're from the beginning. Maybe it's like people that you add in. But yeah, just to make villages feel a bit less empty, I guess.
Yeah, there's definitely a lack of other Vikings or human beings in the world, and mobs in general. So I mentioned the 4, 5, 6 more mobs per biome. There are mods out there that can add these like henchmen that you can hire or have around and do stuff for you, or function as vendors. And there's mods that'll make NPCs into enemies that you can fight. And you might even see some of those in season 2.
Yeah, that would be quite fun.
For myself, one of the things I like to see change, and I mentioned it a lot, is rotating on all axes. I really don't see why we shouldn't be allowed to do that. In the real world, you can take thing and rotate it however you want to make stuff. And I have just seen, especially after season 2, watching some amazing creative builders rotate things to make buildings and structures look old and ruined and falling apart and all these different things. When I see that now, I want it to be a part of the game, and we may include it. We may allow the mod to rotate on all axes on a future server, but yeah, I really love them to make that a part of the vanilla game.
Mm-hmm.
So closing out.
Cool. Shall we do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was going to introduce that segment.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's better if you.
No, I have to cut all this out now. Actually, now I'm not going to cut any of this out. You introduce it.
I ruined it. I ruined the podcast.
No. Delete the whole episode now.
So just cancel. Christmas is cancelled. Okay, so we're going to talk about interesting facts about us. And this week we're going to talk about favorite childhood movie or TV show. And I kind of already did mine last time or a couple of weeks ago. So maybe I'll go last and I'll let Baste start with his favorite childhood movie or show.
Okay, I can choose one. I grew up with all the Disney movies, but I will choose the one that marked me the most, which is the Power Rangers. It sounds weird, but I start to do martial arts thanks to that, and I been doing martial arts for 15 years, so it marks a lot of that.
Oh wow, cool. Which Power Ranger was your favorite?
The dinosaur one's the black one. I even have the toy till today. It's there somewhere.
Awesome.
Nice. And what martial art did you learn? Karate?
Taekwondo. Taekwondo. Black belt on Taekwondo. I was almost a teacher. I went quite hard there.
Nice. Okay, so we know not to mess with you then. How about you, MD?
Oh, favorite? Like favorite of all time favorite?
Yeah.
I have to pick two. I'm sorry.
Cheater. Okay, what are the two?
Yeah. All right. So I'll have to say Legend.
I
don't know if you guys remember
that movie. I love that movie.
Wait, what? Movie?
I watched it.
Which one?
I watched
there's
it when
so
I was
many movies
way
and
too
shows
young.
called Legend.
So I will give you one hint. Tim Curry with horns.
1985 film.
When you haven't seen Legend?
I don't recognize. Nope.
That is the best Tom Cruise movie ever made.
Did you know that he actually actively denies that he was in that
movie? Yeah.
A twin. Yeah. And that's an early Ridley Scott movie too. And back then I was completely in love with Mia Sara because of that movie and, Ferris Bueller's Day Off and everything. But yeah, I love the fantasy of that movie. The sets are so amazing. I don't think any movie, even Lord of the Rings, has quite duplicated that level of magical fantasy storytelling.
Oh, wow. Well, now I have to watch it.
Oh, yes.
For my defense, I wasn't even born when the movie came out.
Yeah, me neither.
No excuses. I go watch old movies too.
I watched this movie. It had come out on TV and I had snuck out of my room to watch late night TV and this came on. I was way too young to be watching it and I was hooked.
Oh, that's so awesome. I'm so glad that's one of your favorite movies of all time. That is awesome.
Formative. Yeah. Absolutely formative for me. Or if you really want to go formative, the other one is The Princess Bride. And I think I watched that every year. At least, well, it was one of my teachers in middle school's favorite movies. And so he would show it to each class when he didn't want to work one day. And so I was in 3 of his classes. So I'd watch The Princess Bride like 3 times that week. It was hilarious. So yeah, those two are my big two.
Inconceivable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about you then, Jiroc?
I would say both of those movies are high on my list for favorite shows from my childhood or movies from my childhood as well. But I decided to mention my favorite television show from my childhood that was ruined by a silly comedy remake because it was not a comedy at all. And that was Sid and Marty Krofft's Land of the Lost. I remember sitting there every morning waiting because it was a sort of a variety show. They had 8 or 10 different worlds that they would show us, tell stories in. And Land of the Lost was only one of them. So every time I'd sit there every morning and I'd just be, please be Land of the Lost. And if they showed the sea monster one or just any one of the other shows that they had, I was so disappointed. But if it came on and it was Land of the Lost, I was like, yes. And the Slee Stack and just the whole story was so much fun for the imagination. I actually have the DVDs of the original show, and it's terrible.
Oh, wow.
It's a
yeah.
It didn't age, I'm guessing.
No, but the concept still is amazing. And when they did a movie adaptation years ago with Colin Farrell, was it? I think.
Yeah.
It was just a big dumb comedy, and I was so disappointed because this show needs to be like a Jurassic Park. Serious action drama for in Land of the Lost. That would be so awesome, but they decided not to go that way. So I'm sad face.
You know what TV show did age really, really well?
Which one?
Gargoyles.
The cartoon?
Oh,
The
yeah.
Disney cartoon Gargoyles aged really, really, really well. And it is, I rewatched it probably in 2020, right when Disney Plus kind of did its thing, and the pandemic had just started. And I watched the entire thing, and it was absolutely delightful.
Oh, wow. I might have to check that out because I remember the show vaguely, but I don't think I might have been too old to really dive into that show at the time.
Yeah, I remember the credits, the beginning credits. It was quite dark, and it was quite grown up for a cartoon, or at least when it was on TV. I was fairly young, and I was a bit spooked by the gargoyles, but I remember it looked really cool.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you to the 5% of the audience who made it this far with us. And we're so excited to have you all as listeners all the way to the end. And hopefully you enjoyed those little tidbits about us. And I think that's going to do it for this week. Thanks for joining me, everyone.
Thanks
Yeah,
for having
Thank you
us.
for inviting.
Don't get drowned in cupcakes. It's a bad plan.
That sounds like my ideal death, to be honest.
Oh, you tease us so much with those cupcakes. I need one now.
I know. You have to ship them all over the world now to us.
Well, that's it for now. Have fun out there. Thank you for listening to Podheim, Jiroc's Valheim podcast. We have new episodes coming out every Friday, and if you enjoyed listening, please support us by subscribing to the podcast on your favorite platform and leave us a rating and a review to help more Vikings find us. We also have a Patreon with perks for supporters like behind-the-scenes discussions, exclusive content, and segments that are edited out of the main podcast. And if you'd like to join our friendly Discord community, we have more than 1,000 people there. Just go to discord.gg/Jiroc the Viking. If you'd like to play on my Valheim servers, just go to my website at jiroctheviking.com and submit an application. I'd like to give a huge shout out to my supporters, some of them on Patreon, the YouTube membership, and the ones who help boost our Discord server. Your support means the world to me and inspires me to make more videos, as well as run a community Discord and multiple Valheim gaming servers. If you enjoy my videos and would like to support my work, join our friendly Discord community and Valheim servers. Links can be found in the description below. Skål!